ADCs are getting buffed even more? And if all the dragons Infernal and Cloud Drake are getting buffed, someone has to explain this to me because I have no idea what is going on. What is up, Team ProGuides, and welcome back to another upcoming changes video. My name is Christoph, and today we're going to be covering some more balance changes that are hitting the Rift in either patch 10.11 or patch 10.12. We'll be covering a wide variety of topics, including more buffs to ADCs, elemental Drake changes, rune buffs, summoner spell changes, and so much more, so make sure to stay tuned until the very end. Do keep in mind, though, that nothing is set in stone, but these are likely to happen, but sometimes they don't. And as for always, our question of the day, which champion of the game would be the weakest if Flash didn't exist? Personally, I think that someone extremely immobile, like maybe a Kog'Maw, super squishy, would be pretty vulnerable without Flash. But then also I look at other characters like Annie, who really relies on her Flash for her engage, and maybe she would be pretty weak as well without it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Very interested to get this conversation started, because that might affect what Riot does with the characters, who knows? Also, one last thing before we start, join our brand new Discord server using the link in the description. We've all created this amazing community, and this is just another way for all of us to connect to each other. We're going to be doing a ton of fun events like coaching giveaways, tournaments, skin giveaways, and so much more, so don't miss out. We are so happy to have each and every one of you in our community. I've personally been talking to a ton of you guys, and you have been inspiring me to make better content. You've been inspiring us to do a better job at making this community the best that we can. So thanks to all of you guys for doing that. All right, now into the video. Let's cover my favorite section, the rune changes. Just kidding, you know my favorite section, it's the new skins. The new skins hitting the Rift in patch 10.11 are leaked in a previous video we did. And it turns out, though, that those leaks were correct. Up first, we have Astronaut Bard, which looks really cool because he has little green aliens as meeps. Next, we have Astronaut Gnar and Astronaut Poppy. These are super cute, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing that Poppy skin, even though she does kind of give me PTSD if anyone has played TFT recently. She is literally unkillable. She really had to get nerfed. I still find it kind of weird that she keeps getting new skins, even though her play rate is pretty low. Someone on the Riot skin development team must just love Poppy, I guess. There's also gonna be a ton of chromas and summoner icons to go with these skins, so let's check those out as well. Up next, let's cover some rune changes coming in patch 10.12. So these changes won't be here next patch, but most likely in the patch right after that. First up, we have changes coming to the Guardian Keystone rune. Although this rune is pretty powerful during all stages of the game, one of the greatest weaknesses of Guardian is how easy it is for the enemy team to proc it. One change that support mains have been wanting for a while is to not allow Guardian to proc on tiny chip damage. For a Keystone that has a 70-second cooldown during the early game, it feels really bad when the enemy laner triggers it with an auto attack or something small like that. For patch 10.12, the Balance team are adding two changes to this rune as a result. First, they're going to be increasing the area that you can protect your allies in. This means that Guardian will trigger when you're a bit further away than usual. Secondly, they'll be changing the trigger from any damage to a significant amount of burst damage. Overall, I'm loving these changes. I think you guys will too, but I hope they do make a few exceptions to allies who are low HP. It would really suck if your ADC is like 50 HP and your Guardian doesn't proc because the enemy auto-attacked instead of using a burst ability. Who knows what will happen? I think that would be nice, but overall these changes are pretty welcome. Happy they're doing them. Up next, we have another Keystone change, which is for Predator. So right now, this rune is primarily used on junglers and sometimes mid laners like Pyke or Galio. However, this rune is pretty awkward to use if you think about it. There's a long channel time, cooldown is extremely long, so you're forced to take Ingenious Hunter, and the damage is surprisingly high for some reason. For patch 10.12, the Balance team are looking to work on simplifying this rune and removing some restrictions. The long channel time will be reduced, the cooldown will be lowered significantly, and the bonus damage will be lowered as well. They're hoping that Predator makes its way into the support and top meta as well, instead of being exclusively for junglers and mid laners. Weird change, but I'm all for it. Moving on, we have some changes coming to minor runes like Unflinching and Approach Velocity. When it comes to Unflinching, this rune is criminally underrated for supports. Anyone who plays supports knows this. In fact, I'm pretty sure a lot of non-support mains don't even know what this rune does. So, for those who are unaware, Unflinching gives you 10% slow resistance and 10% tenacity for each of your summoner spells on cooldown, stacking up to 20%. You also gain 15% slow resistance and 15% tenacity whenever you cast a summoner spell. However, the Balance team has decided to add a huge buff to this rune by changing the 10% tenacity to 30% when you are low health. Honestly, this is a pretty big buff to the rune, and I can see champions like Rakan loving this change since he needs to engage a lot. Having the extra tenacity when he's low will increase his playmaking potential and allow him to escape slippery situations. And next up for minor runes, we have changes coming to approach velocity. So right now, this is a pretty niche rune, and it's only used by champions like Olaf, Ashe, Tahm Kench, and maybe Braum. This is because these champions can apply this rune easily and make the best use of it. However, the Balance team wants to make sure that more champions can use this rune and are making some heavy changes. Firstly, they're going to be completely removing the ally aspect, so you'll no longer receive movement speed when walking towards allies who are CC'd. However, they're going to be making it so that you receive the movement speed towards enemies who are CC'd, and doubling this movement speed if the CC is applied yourself. This is a massive change, guys. And you can expect those 4 champs I listed earlier on to see a lot more play because of these buffs if they hit the live servers. You can already see Ashe and Olaf being extremely strong near the S tier almost if the numbers on these buffs are there. Something to keep in mind. Alright, moving on from those rune changes, we have one summoner spell change coming in patch 10.12. Ghost overall seems like a pretty weak summoner spell, so Riot is taking the opportunity to buff it. Their overall goal is to improve the satisfaction and differentiation from other summoner spells, especially because having Nimbus Cloak and Phase Rush pretty much defeated the purpose of taking Ghost altogether. They're still working on those changes, so nothing has been revealed yet. We expect some Ghost changes coming very soon. Make sure to smash that sub button if you want the specifics of any changes that are coming out in the next couple weeks. Next up, we have a continuation of the ADC buffs that are coming in patch 10.11. If you watched our previous video on ADC buffs, you would know already that ADCs are receiving an HP buff, as well as some attack speed buffs on Zeal items. However, it looks like the Balance team are buffing ADCs even more, because honestly, the community feedback on these changes was kind of split. On one hand, ADC mains loved the HP buffs because it helped them from getting one-shot, but on the other hand, they hated the Zeal changes because it doesn't really solve the issues of ADCs needing way too many items to become strong. Firstly, the ADC HP buffs have been toned down a little bit. They'll still receive 30 HP flat, but instead of 5 HP per level, they'll receive 2 HP per level. ADCs who can be played in other lanes will not receive these changes. So I'm talking about champions like Kindred, Graves, Quinn, Lucian, any of those top laners or mid laners that might work. The list of ADCs who will receive this buff, though, are Aphelios, Ashe, Caitlyn, Draven, all of these champions in the bot lane, including Tristana. Wait, hold up. Didn't Tristana literally dominate the top and mid lane not too long ago? Yes, she did, but she's still receiving this buff. Pretty strange. So maybe Riot does want this Trist mid or Trist top back. Who knows? Next up for the ADC buffs, Riot has decided to buff Zeal items even more for next patch. Instead of receiving a measly 5% attack speed, Zeal items will now grant 7 to 9% movement speed. So Zeal, Phantom Dancer, Rapid Fire Cannon, and Static Shiv will now give you 7% bonus movement speed, and Rudan's Hurricane will now give you 9% bonus movement speed. I think you guys can guess this yourselves, but these buffs are so much stronger, so much better than having 5% attack speed buffs that were planned for before. However, do keep in mind that these buffs will indirectly make champions like Tryndamere and Yasuo a ton stronger as well, because guess what? They build Zeal. Maybe they can do the same change they did for Blade of the Ruined King, where the buffs are split between ranged and melee users. I think that's probably the best idea, to be honest. I honestly don't think Yasuo and Tryndamere really need buffs right now, so hopefully Riot makes some adjustments. We'll hit our boys up at Riot, and maybe we can influence them. And now moving on, we have some changes coming to Elemental Dragons. I quote, "We've been slow burning on a few light improvements to some Elemental Rifts. After having some time to see the Elemental Rifts gameplay settle in this season, we're happy with how environmental changes add new master points and freshness without generating particular advantages for one team or another. It'd be how well you use them. Based on that, we're adding a few more elements to some rifts to enhance their gameplay possibilities." So first up, Infernal Rift will now double down on opening new pathing and breaking down walls. So you're going to see a lot less walls when this rift settles in, so you have to be extra creative with your pathing. In addition to that, Infernal Rift will now spawn additional blast cones in the jungle and alcoves. This is a bit of a weird change. I'm not really sure how I feel about this one, but you know, any change is welcome as long as it's balanced, I guess. On one hand, I like how immobile champions can get over walls more easily, but on the other, I'm kind of sick of getting trolled by my teammates who just blast me over the wall when I walk over those cones. I'm sure honestly some of you guys who are watching this video have probably done that to me. So if you want, you can issue me an apology in the comment section, but I'm not forcing you to. Alright, next up we have changes for Cloud Rift. Whirlwinds in the jungle will now enhance speed and rotation. On top of that, additional blooms will spawn in the jungle, and wind speed areas now have increased effects for champions out of combat. So overall, this rift will add more vision control and speed you up by a lot if you're out of combat. That's pretty cool. I like it. And lastly, let's cover our final topic, which is game-ruining behavior. If you've been following our recent videos, you would know that we made a response video to Voyboy's video titled The Sad State of Solo Queue. On there, we talked about all the problems with the current state of solo queue and how Riot doesn't do enough to punish griefers and inters. However, it does seem like Riot has a plan and has shared with us some of the steps that they're taking to ensure that our games are just better. So firstly, they'll be adding a report system in Champion Select. We've been asking for this for years, and they finally are doing it. This is to prevent players from holding lobbies hostage or picking troll champions. In addition to that, you'll now be able to mute players in Champion Select, which is honestly a godsend. Having to go against the same annoying players over and over and over again, in high elo especially, is super frustrating, and just muting them at the start of the game is just awesome. Also, they have mentioned that they're going to be re-examining their previous stance on rapid automated detection of players who are trying to lose a game. Because let's be honest, this does not work. I've seen players run it down for 2 weeks straight and not be punished even once. In the long term, they'll still be working on more solutions to improve solo queue, but I gotta say, this is a great start. They listened to us, they watched probably our video and Voyboy's video, and I'm just happy that they're actually making some changes. I think it's great. I have a lot of hope for the future, and I pray that these changes will work, because as weird as it sounds, I love this game. And it cringes me to say it, but I also love Riot. I think they're doing a great job. They're actually one of the few companies that listen to us and make changes as a result. So, very happy. Alright guys, that is it for our upcoming changes video. We didn't go over any of the champion changes in this one. These are just bigger gameplay updates that they're planning to make, which are awesome. All these quality of life changes as well. I'm super excited for them. Let me know down below which one you're most excited about. Personally, I love when they change the dragons. I think it's just nice to change up strategies every once in a while. It makes it so the game isn't so black and white every time. Once again, guys, join our Discord. We're gonna have so much fun on there pretty soon. And if you guys are interested in watching Valorant content or Fortnite or TFT, you can go add one of our channels as well. And if you guys want to get better at League of Legends or any game that you're passionate about, go to ProGuides.com and find a coach right now. Super helpful way to just stay connected with someone, get better at the game, and improve, because improving is just really important. It's a very important part of life. All right, guys, once again, it's been Christoph with you. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.